Liangelo Ball is currently playing basketball overseas in Mexico in the hopes of eventually making it back to the NBA. He has had a whirlwind of a basketball experience since his days at Chino Hills High School, and this has landed him at the Astros de Jalisco's. The Astros are currently the champions of the Mexican League, and with the addition of Liangelo are looking to repeat. Liangelo has always been the outcast of the Ball family in a magnitude of ways. He has a different body type than his brothers, meaning he has played a different position. He was ranked lower than them in high school. He went undrafted, and now he is the only one not in the NBA. He has had experience playing NBA-associated basketball, being in the G League, but it has always been questioned whether or not he was ever good enough to actually compete for minutes on an NBA roster, or if he is living off of his last name. Coming from a family of professional athletes means that there is extra pressure to succeed in the world of sports, and Liangelo's NBA future isn't looking too good right now. But how did he get to this point? After spending time playing Division I at UCLA, playing overseas in Lithuania, and in his father's overseas basketball league, Liangelo entered the 2018 draft, but went undrafted. Liangelo was in basketball limbo, not exactly knowing where the next steps for his career should be, but Liangelo began to be a fringe NBA player in December of 2020 when he signed an Exhibit 10 contract with the Detroit Pistons. This was essentially a training camp contract, and he did not even make it to the summer league team to showcase his talents. At 6'5" and 220 pounds, Liangelo has an NBA-built body, and he is marketed as an elite three-point shooter, which is the most valuable trait in the NBA at the moment. So many people believe he is built for NBA basketball. 12 days later, Liangelo was waived by the Pistons and was back into basketball limbo. In the summer of 2021, Liangelo's brother Lamelo invited him to work out with Charlotte Hornets, as the Hornets are allowed to bring one workout partner. The Hornets were impressed by what they saw from Liangelo, and he earned himself a summer league spot. Because of how long Liangelo has been in the spotlight, his summer league debut was much anticipated, and he had 5 three-pointers in 16 minutes of action. In October, he officially signed for the Hornets, but he was waived the next day and selected number 14 by the Greensboro Swarm, the Hornets' G League affiliate, with the 14th pick of the G League draft. Liangelo had a disappointing time in the G League and fell under expectations. Playing only 13 minutes per game, he averaged 4.6 points, shooting 39.5% from the field and 36% from the three-point line. He did show the ability to potentially be an NBA-level player with the 26-point career high with 6 threes. However, these stats aren't anywhere near good enough to make it to the NBA. In his second season in the G League, he got cut after 3 games. With such numbers, he does not look like the NBA player, so why are people calling for his success in the league? It starts with time in high school with Chino Hills. The 2016 Chino Hills High School team has become stuff of legend in the history of high school basketball for being the first public school to be ranked the #1 team in the country since the birth of rankings, going 35-0 for the season. The starting 5 of this team consisted of the 3 Ball brothers, Lonzo, Liangelo, and Melo, overseas pro Eli Scott, and Atlanta Hawks Big Onyeka Okungwu, otherwise known as Big O. This team went on to beat the top private schools and prep schools who are known for having a history of basketball excellence and essentially recruiting the top-ranked players to come to their high school. So when Chino Hills beat schools, such as their blowout win against Mater Dei and Montverde, it shocked the world and blew up the team to a national scale, especially the Ball brothers. Liangelo was a huge component of this team's success, because as a junior, he led the team in scoring with 27.4 points per game, decimating the best teams in the country. In his senior year of high school with Lonzo now in college, Liangelo would take on an even bigger role, averaging 33.8 points and leading the entire state of California in points. Despite leaving high school as a 3-star recruit according to ESPN, his performances in his last 2 years of high school gave people the impression that Liangelo would thrive at the college level, already being committed to UCLA and set out his path to the league, but this is when it all started to go downhill. At UCLA, people expected Liangelo to carry on the excitement that Lonzo gave the program in the previous year by playing an exciting brand of basketball, which led to winning. But being that he was ranked as the 50th best shooting guard in his class, he was expected to be a reserve for the beginning of his college career. In the one college game he did get to play in the preseason, he scored 11 points against a Division II team. In November of 2017, Liangelo and 2 other UCLA teammates were arrested for stealing glasses from a Louis Vuitton store in China. They were facing 3 to 10 years of prison time, and it took the intervention of former President Donald Trump to be released from Chinese custody. This was a terrible look for Liangelo because committing a crime in a foreign country is already such a serious offense, but when it is a country like China, with such strict laws, it adds to the offense. And then when you take into consideration that Liangelo comes from a family who is financially stable, having a brother in the league and driving a supercar, it makes the decision even more stupid. Liangelo was suspended from UCLA for the rest of the year, but in December, he decided to withdraw from the program and play overseas in Lithuania, in hopes of making the league. If Liangelo could have stayed in college, it would have given him the best chance of having a stable NBA career, because although he probably wouldn't have been a one-and-done player, he would have time to develop in a stable situation and find his lane in how to help a team win. Crashing out of college the way he did it is easy to see why NBA teams wanted to stay away from him in the draft. The Ball family, other than Liangelo, have a great draft representation, as Lonzo was the number 2 pick to the Los Angeles Lakers, and Lamelo was the number 3 pick to the Charlotte Hornets, making them the first brothers to be drafted in the top 3. Liangelo has always been different to his brothers in play style, and it is mainly down to position and build. Lonzo and Lamelo are wiry, oversized point guards who have an elite feel for the game, play at a fast pace, and are 2 of the best passers in the entire NBA. Liangelo, on the other hand, is a mix between a spot-up shooter and a post player, which makes it difficult to find him a role on an NBA team, whereas his brothers can play for any team that needs a point guard. In high school, Lonzo and Lamelo were both highly ranked and 5-star recruits. In his senior year for Chino Hills, Lonzo was ranked number 4 in the country and was given a 96 player rating. In Lamelo's senior year for Spire Academy, he was the 21st player in the country and was given a 93 rating. Liangelo, on the other hand, was ranked number 226th in the country, according to 24/7 Sports, and ESPN gave him a 79 rating. Perhaps the writing on the wall has been there from high school, and Liangelo was never made to be an NBA player. There are other players from this era of high school basketball that made a claim to fame when they were younger, but never reached the highest heights of basketball. This is a list that includes players like Julian Newman, who became an internet sensation whilst he was still in middle school. But the older he got, and the taller and better the competition got, it became very evident that Julian would never be close to an NBA player, and it became more of a circus in his later years of high school. More talented players like Kyrie Walker, who was very highly ranked in his earlier years of high school, began to fade out as he kept reclassing and was playing against competition that were clearly not on his level, but eventually caught up with him in the end. To make and stay in the NBA, you need to have perfect development all throughout high school, whilst hoping you have the correct NBA body, choosing the right college or overseas program, and being drafted to the right team. Maybe the NBA was always a reach for Liangelo Ball, and people have been projecting the play of his brothers and the predictions of his father onto him this whole time. And with Liangelo turning 26 this year, his time is running out to sign a long-term stable NBA contract.